If you want to Emily, today's video is going to be my April book haul video. I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I've accumulated in the last month, and for once I feel like it's actually a reasonable amount of books. I'm not sure what's going on with me, but we're just gonna roll with it. So let's just jump right into it. The first book I absolutely wanted to read is this one. This is Altered Carbon by Richard Morgan, and this is the first book in a trilogy that is now a TV show on Netflix. And you know me, I like to read the book before I actually get to watch the show, so I decided to try the first book. If I like it, I'll read the trilogy and watch the show. If I don't really like it, I'm probably just gonna watch a TV show, but the TV show has been recommended to me a ton. I don't know much about it except that it's like a kind of like sci-fi thriller, and I've been reading a lot of like sci-fi with clones and everything, and I believe this is part of the theme of the book. I don't really want to know too much, but yes, it has been recommended to me, so I needed to get my hands on it, and I will keep you updated because I'm definitely planning on reading this probably next month or at the end of this month. It will depend on how fast I am with my reading because I'm slowly going through my TBR, but I don't know if I'm going to follow it or just start reading this ASAP. We'll see. As you know, I like to buy most of my books used, and when I saw this one, I freaked out a little bit because it's pretty old, and you go in like secondhand bookstores or even like library sales, and I feel like they won't necessarily have the old books I'm interested in. They'll have a bunch of like romance and like popular contemporary that are like going around like from a year or two ago. But that's mostly what they have. So I got really excited whenever I saw this one because I'm sure none of you has any freaking idea what this is about. This is On a Pale Horse by Pierce Anthony, and this was published, when was it published? In '83, so it's not that old, but for booktube at least, it's kind of old. I've been into that whole premise of, or at least buying the books that are about the main character being death, and I know it was recommended to me to finally read The Book Thief, and I have A Mort from Terry Pratchett to read, but this one, it's the story of the main character and he kills death, and he realized that he's stuck being death because of that. That's the premise, and I had seen this on a few lists on like Goodreads of like, you know, book characters that are about death and everything. So when I saw it, I freaked out a little bit and grabbed it. It's in pretty good condition. I'm very happy I was able to find this one. So I will probably be reading this as soon as possible too. There's like 300 and something pages, and I will let you know if it's worth the read or not. I actually realized after I got it that it's actually the first book in a trilogy or a series. So I don't know if you have to read the other ones or if you can consider this a standalone. Again, we'll keep you updated. But if anyone knows, actually, let me know because I would love to know. I have been wanting to read more contemporary / literary fiction. It's not usually my genre, but I have read a few that I enjoyed, so I was trying to listen to other recommendations, and I wanted to read some Donna Tartt because I do own The Goldfinch, but I was told that I probably should start with The Secret History. And this one, you're following a group of students, university students. They're all in the same class, I believe, and there's some type of mystery, and all of them are not necessarily likable, and they're trying to figure things out. That's literally all I know about it, except that it's like 600 pages, so better be one hell of a mystery. It's probably the most recommended literary fiction I've received, like ever, so oops. Let me know your recommendations, considering it's not my genre. I'm open-minded, but you know. I have also been really in the mood for sci-fi. Clearly, at this point of the year, so far, I've read more sci-fi than fantasy, which never happens to me, so we're gonna keep going, and I've been really into the whole like first contact with aliens. So I thought, why not keep going and read this one, which is Rendezvous with Rama by Arthur C. Clarke. And it's literally all I know about it, that it's a classic sci-fi, first contact with aliens, and it's been recommended to me, and it's also in a lot of lists of like best sci-fi, and I've been wanting to read a bunch of these SF masterworks, and some of them are really good, some of them have had rougher experiences, so I'm hoping this one is going to be a positive experience since so many people say that it's amazing. So very excited. I will definitely be reading this probably next month too, because I'm getting like to the point, you know, when I'm not in a reading slump, I feel like I want to read everything, and I'm struggling to decide what will actually be on my TBR, but maybe next month. And speaking of classic sci-fi, I've been reading a bunch of them, and I'm realizing it's a pattern that there's either no female characters, or the ones that are there aren't so great, or there's a lot of sexism, and it's kind of part of a lot of them. And I wanted to try and balance this a little bit and read a book that has a bunch of strong female characters, and this is Red Sister by Mark Lawrence, and it's a trilogy that is actually already done. The whole thing is written, so you won't have to wait, but they are being published one a year, and it's an adult fantasy series, so I'm trying to once again maybe tempt myself into going back to fantasy. But yes, I'm very excited about it. I haven't read anything by Mark Lawrence, although I've been accumulating a few of his books whenever I see them. And this is the newest one, and I'm super excited to read it. I will definitely keep you updated because I've seen so many people raving about the series and loving it. I'm all ready for it because at the beginning of the month, the second book, which is Grey Sister, I think, was just published. So if I read both of them, I won't have to wait more than a year to continue the series, so I'm okay with it. I don't like reading series whenever they're not done because of how traumatized we've all been by a few different authors, but I'm happy to know that he wrote the whole thing already, so. Another fantasy series, I found this one used and I was super excited. This is The Artemis Bleeds by Brian Stavely. And to be honest, I don't know much about it except that a few people that I do follow have read the trilogies and loved it. And the whole trilogy is out, so I will be keeping an eye out to try and accumulate all of them and then binge read it. But yeah, it's an adult high fantasy series, so. And then last book before I go into the unboxing is The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat by Oliver Sacks. And this is a nonfiction which has a few different short stories. Basically, they're not really stories if it's nonfiction, right? Different chapters about a different person that has a neurological disorder. That's what it is. I don't know if someone actually mistook his wife for a hat, but this is kind of a classic nonfiction that I've seen a lot around and I've been wanting to read more. I've been actually reading quite a few listening as audiobooks, but I've had this one on my TBR for a while, so when I saw it, I grabbed it. Now let's go to the unboxing section of the video. If you don't know, I'm a Book Outlet vlogger friend. I have my page there. You can see the books that I've been hoarding from them. And I'm gonna go through the books I got this month. The first one is something I am tempting to see if I'm going to be into it or not, because earlier this year I read Nevermore, I believe, which is a middle grade fantasy series that is just starting, and it's been getting so many rave reviews, so I decided to test it myself. I did enjoy it, so I'm like, maybe I can try a few more middle grades to see if maybe I will like them. You can see I'm a little hesitant because I haven't been super lucky with them, but this one, the whole idea really intrigues me, so I wanted to try and read them. The School for Good and Evil by Saman Shinani. In this book, you're following two main characters, and the girl that you think is going to be sent to the good school ends up being sent to the evil one, and vice versa. So I've heard great reviews about it, so I wanted to test it myself, and I've been seeing it a lot on the Book Outlet, so I'm like, you know what, it's time for me to finally grab it. I was so excited when I saw this one because I've been trying to find it used because I don't buy a lot of books brand new, so I was so excited when I saw this one. This is Fire Upon the Deep by Werner Vinge. I've seen this on so many lists of like best sci-fi of all time type of thing, so I decided to grab it. I believe this is a duology, but I think they're like companion novels and not actually a series. Let me know. This was published in '92, so it's not that old. But yes, I had never seen this edition. I had seen a few of the SF Masterwork one, and I was like planning on getting it, but then it was on Book Outlet, so very happy to have it. It's another one that has been on my TBR for a long time. I've been slowly accumulating books for the fall whenever I start binge reading a lot of mystery, thriller, horror. And I saw this one. This is The Kept Woman by Karen Slaughter. And I've seen so many of her books pretty much everywhere, but I haven't read any. I don't know if you're supposed to start with one or the other. But this is an author that I've seen a lot of her books, and actually they say Pretty Girls, and I've seen like a few different ones, and I haven't picked up any yet. I know I have one on my Audible account that I need to listen to, but I saw that one, I grabbed it because my shelf is like right on top of here, and like most of the books on my thriller, horror, mystery shelf have been read, so I'm like getting a little nervous that I need to get more. I did get a bunch in my library, by the way, but I have to wait so long. Do you remember when I waited like over a year for Woman Cabin 10 and I was still waiting? I'm realizing I'm getting a bunch of classics. One book that I had been recommended to read, like a lot of people were putting this also in their like best book of all time, favorite book of all time, and I'm not huge on country western type of book, but I've enjoyed Westworld. Does that count? The TV show? I guess it's more like sci-fi than truly western, but this when I saw it on BookOutlet, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll give it a shot. This is Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. Apparently it's gonna give me all the feels. I'm ready for it. I'm not sure when I'm actually gonna pick it up because this is so big, like much bigger than expected. There's over 800 pages, so we shall see, but let me know if you have read it and if I should try to put it higher on my TBR, because for now it's like, I got it because it was used, but I'm not sure when I'm actually gonna get to it. Do you do that to yourself? Because I know I have a few classics that it's exactly it, like War and Peace. I'm like, I like the idea of reading it. I'm not sure when I'm actually gonna read it. And then I have Alas Babylon by Pat Frank. And this is another classic, but a post-apocalyptic one, which I've been binge reading a bunch of them. It's like one of my goals in life, apparently, to read all of them. And this edition was really, really pretty. As you can see, I love whenever they have a pretty spine, and I know that I will eventually read it, so I definitely needed to get my hands on it when I saw it. And it's much shorter than I thought they would be. It's like 355 pages, and yes, another book that is on so many people's lists of like best of that category of like post-apocalyptic. So I will read it hopefully this year so I can compare it, because I've read Swan Song and I'm planning on reading The Stand by Stephen King. So I'm reading a bunch of the classic ones to be able to give you a list of my favorite ones. And then last but not least, I have An Unkindness of Magicians by Kat Howard. I believe it's an adult fantasy, like urban fantasy book that happens in New York, which, I mean, best way to make me want to read a book is to make it happen in New York. I don't know why, I just always succeed in. And in this one, there's like something that happens to magic, and then you're following a main character that is like the most powerful magicians that they have ever seen in a long time, blah, blah, blah. You know how it is. And she has to try and fight evil or something like that. That's what I've heard. But I've seen so many people mentioning it lately that whenever you see a book over and over again and then you find it on BookOutlet, it's like, mine. And this one was published in 2017, I believe. And I've been trying to read a few recent books to be able to let you know if I think they're worth the read or not. So I definitely wanted this one. Plus, let's be real, I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see it with the light, but that cover is amazing, and it was definitely partially a cover buy. So that's it, guys. Those are all the books that I purchased in the last month. I feel like for once I was pretty reasonable. Like, I definitely read this amount of book in the last month, so it's like I'm not hoarding books too much. I'm actually planning on doing an unhaul kind of soon because I feel like there's a few books on my bookshelves that I'm like not super into, or the ones that I've read but I'm not planning on rereading everything. Let me know if you would be interested in me doing another one, because I'm overdue. That's gonna be it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be putting on the screen of the videos that I've done that I recommend you check out, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.